Hey, this is Peter with Unison, and today we're going to be reconstructing a patch in the style of the bass from Jauz and Snails' track Motherfuckers. Let's check out the finished patch and A/B it with the reference so you can see where we end up. So for those of you who just want to download this patch and don't intend to watch the full video, just be aware of two things. In order to make it sound like it just did in this demo, you'll need to insert a low cut filter. I'm using a 96 decibel per octave low cut at 44 Hertz. The only other thing is we've got this velocity macro here. You'll see in the description that it is tuned to work best with velocities between 1 and 40. So on my MIDI here, most of the notes are set to 1 and the accent notes are set to 37. If you don't want to deal with the hassle of velocity on your MIDI notes, you can just turn this macro off and it will sound essentially the same. It's really just a detail. Okay, so as usual, let's start by initializing a fresh preset. I'm just going to drop oscillator A down an octave and set our voicing to mono since we're only playing one note at a time. And I'm going to turn our random phase off so every note starts on the same phase. So this is our starting point. So we'll probably choose a different saw wave later, but we'll start with this one, and we'll start off by routing it through a Moog filter. I usually like the Moog Low 18, and that ended up working for this. And I'm going to control the filter cutoff with envelope 2, so just drag and drop that over to the cutoff. Then I'll play it back and just play around with the settings for this envelope until I like what I hear. I want to extend the tail on the notes a little bit, so I'm going to add release both on envelope 2 so that the filter clamps down more slowly, but also on envelope 1, since without a long release on envelope 1, the release on envelope 2 won't even be audible. So we'll turn up both of those. I'm pretty sure we're going to want to multiband compress this sound, so let's set that up first since it changes the sound a lot, and then we can mix into it. Head over to our FX section here and enable the compressor. Set it in multiband mode. And then I'll adjust the threshold for each of these EQ bands. I like it with a slightly longer release and higher ratio. So now let's go back to our wavetable and pick a saw wave that feels a bit more accurate. I like the basic mini, but in order to make it sound more full, I'm going to add some distortion to it. It's a little bit closer. We have that clicking transient at the beginning of the notes, and I want to keep that. I just want to tame the high frequency content. So the first thing I'm going to do to address that is reach for my filter cutoff, and we'll back it off a little bit. And then we can fine tune it with our EQ plugin. The reference sounds like it has a slightly more nasal mid-range, so I'm going to use our other EQ band to address that. I want to bring just a little bit more focus to the high-low end, around 200 Hertz, maybe a little bit lower. I'm going to do that with a bandpass filter. I'll use a band 12 and add a bit of resonance to a cutoff somewhere in this range. So I want to bring that frequency forward, but obviously not get rid of the rest. So I'm just going to dial back our mix until I like the balance. Okay, we've got plenty of headroom in the patch, so I'm just going to crank up our master volume, and then I'll just match the volume of the track using a gain plugin. We have some low sub frequencies that we don't need, and since we're out of EQ bands here, I'm just going to throw a basic low cut on our channel. As I showed before, it's just a 96 decibel per octave cut at 44 Hertz. There are a few notes here that feel slightly brighter. I want these three notes to be more percussive with a slightly shorter decay, but also more high frequency content. So I'm going to map velocity onto our envelope to decay, so it's controlling the decay of our filter. And I'm also going to map it onto the cutoff of our filter. I'm going to hop over to our matrix window here, make sure these are set to unipolar, and then adjust until I hear what I'm looking for. We can set whether or not to engage this velocity sensitivity by using macro 1 as an aux source. Then just turn this up to make the patch velocity sensitive, or keep it down so that it's not. Okay, and if you want some extra motion, you can sidechain this to a kick sample or add on something like LFO tool. And that should do it. If you like what we're doing here at Unison, I hope you'll hit subscribe. If you have any comments or feedback or requests, please leave them in the comment section below. One lucky commenter and/or subscriber will receive a free Unison sound pack, and if you're interested in checking out more Unison sounds like this, we'll link to those also in the description below. This has been Peter with Unison, and the track is Motherfuckers by Jauz and Snails.